In this video, I'm going to be making some apothecary bottles. You can use any kind of bottle that you have to make these with. Some of the bottles that I have here that I'm using a tin can and a lid from a peanut butter jar. I have a vitamins bottle, an alcohol bottle, a Tums bottle, and then you want all kinds of embellishments. I have all kinds of different things. This that I have there is just a plastic piece that kind of looks like a buckle, and I'm just going to glue that to the lid of the vitamin bottle using some hot glue. You also want to use hot glue to make your image on the bottle before you do any painting. Now for this bottle, I am making a bottle of frog's breath. So I'm just going to take my glue gun and I'm going to draw a very simple little frog and then write the word breath underneath the picture of the frog. And here you can see the image of the frog and the writing. You can't really make it out, but once we start painting, then you will be able to see it very clearly. This is another idea here. I am using a smuggler's grape jelly jar, and because I'm going to be covering it, I didn't worry about taking the labels off. And then what I'm gluing down into there is like a rose-shaped lid that was on a fabric softener bottle. And I'm going to be making a bottle of poison out of this jar. So I am taking my hot glue gun and I am writing the word poison. I am also drawing a skull and crossbones. Like I said, it's hard to tell without the paint on there, but it'll stand out when the paint is on there. This one, I am making a bottle of spider venom. This is a spider that I made out of pom-poms and pipe cleaners, and I'm going to be using that to embellish the bottle. I'm going to glue that onto the lid, and then of course on the bottle itself I am going to be drawing a spider and writing venom. I believe I might have also put spider webs on the bottle as well with the hot glue. And there we have that bottle. If you're wondering why I can't remember everything, that is because this is an old video that I made before I learned better how to edit. So I am just, redoing it so it's better. Okay, now for this one, I am making Eye of Newt, and I just took a piece of white scrap paper and drew a black dot on there for the pupil, and then I'm going to be gluing it to one of these glass bead rocks. I'm not sure what you call them, but they're glass, and this one's blue. And then I'm going to glue that onto the bottle. And like I said, this is going to be Eye of Newt. And now I'm going to use my hot glue gun to write the words Eye of Newt onto the bottle using the hot glue. This is much easier to do if you have a finer tipped hot glue gun. You're not going to want to, and you just lightly press on your trigger. You don't want too much glue coming out at one time. Okay, and there's that one. The eye looks so neat on this bottle, especially when it's finished. Okay, now we're going to be working on these other bottles. I think this is where I decided that I was going to change it, and I wanted the frog's breath in the can with the peanut butter jar lid on it. And so then I switched it to make this one the snake oil. So now I took the hot glue off after it had dried that said the frog's breath, and then I drew a snake and then writing the word oil onto the bottle. And then the can I have sitting there with the peanut butter jar lid on it, that I am going to turn into the frog's breath. So I'm just going to draw my little frog and then write the word breath onto the can, just right over top of the label. There's no need to remove the labels because they're going to be covered. You're not going to see them anyway. If anything, they're just going to be adding some texture to the final product. I'm using just an old paint bottle for this one. I just glued like a little plastic chest piece to the top, and then I just wrapped some aluminum foil around the bottle to add some texture to it, and it's going to look really neat once I get the paint on there. And I'm going to use some hot glue to help secure the aluminum foil down in place where I want it to be. Now for this bottle, I'm making bat blood, so I'm using my hot glue gun to draw on a little bat and then writing the word blood underneath of that. Okay, now I've got all of my bottles decorated up, so now it's time to start painting. And I'm going to give them all some black paint to start with. I'm just taking a sponge brush and getting the black paint on there and then just dabbing it up and down all over the bottles until they are completely covered. For my bottle of poison, I decided that I wanted to add some of this cheesecloth or whatever it is, gauze, I think it is, yeah, gauze, to the jar. Instead of just having it plain, I wanted to have a little more texture. So I just put some Mod Podge on the jar and then wrap the gauze around the jar. And then I'm going to go back over with my hot glue and write the word poison and also draw the skull and crossbones back onto the jar because now the gauze is covering that up. So, like I said, just with my hot glue gun, rewriting the word poison and drawing the skull and crossbones back on the jar. And then I'm going to finish up all my jars, make sure they're getting dry using my hair dryer. Now I'm going to be using these pouncers and I'm going to be going in with different colors. Okay, so here I am using brown and I believe this is Hazelnut by Apple Barrel. And I just pounce that on up and down all over the bottle. Don't want to completely cover up the black. You want some of the black to still show through. But by adding the brown on top, it helps give the bottles an old age look like you would find in a creepy old witch's house. And I'm just going to keep doing this with all of the bottles. I'm also mixing in some yellow to help give it that, creepy little aged, look there. So I'm mixing the yellow and the brown on over top of the black. Let's see that again. So I go there with the brown. I should be getting some of the yellow and putting it on there too. It's hard to see sometimes exactly what a person's doing on camera. So I'm trying to explain it as best I can. I'm just pouncing up and down, not completely covering up the other layers or anything like that because you want some of the other colors to show through. Yeah, this is here where I drew the spider webs on. This was the spider venom bottle that I done with the alcohol bottle. And then I decided, yeah, I need to add a little more to it. So I decided to draw the spider webs on. And you want to make sure before you go putting any paint on that you give the hot glue time to dry. Now I'm checking this one, glue's dry, and I'm going to go over it. Look how that pops. That's great. There, I'm getting some more of my yellow and some more of my brown. I don't know what all colors I use, but just want to use whatever colors you have. If you have some kind of green that you want to use or gray, just whatever works for you and has your bottles looking how you want them to look. So I'm just going to keep doing all of my bottles. You can see there now I'm going to go back over and just lightly do where the hot glue is with my black so that it helps the letters pop out and any designs pop out a little more. Now I am taking some dried gladiolus flowers. These came from my own garden and I am using those along with other things to embellish the bottles even more. I love using dried flowers, and gladiolus flowers are so easy to dry. You just pull them off and leave them sit until they're dry. I use it for potpourri and filler in vases. There's lots of things that you can do with gladiolus flowers. They hold up really well for lots of things. Okay, that's all for this video. I hope you have some inspiration here making your own apothecary bottles. Let me know if you make any of your own. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.